let's get going. So like I say, we're here today to chat about procedures. We're going to be talking about maximizing operational efficiency. And as per usual, this session is hosted by myself. I'm Mary. I'm a customer success manager here at MaintainX. It's my job to ensure that you guys are able to get the most value out of the system. So if I already work with you, hello, nice to see you. If I don't work with you yet, I look forward to doing so in the future. And I have my wonderful co-host here, Nick Sankar, who is our customer support manager. Nick, would you like to take the floor and introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mary. My name is Nick Sankar. I am the manager of customer support here at lovely MaintainX, and we are looking forward to presenting Procedures 101 to you and everyone else on the panel today. Looking forward to answering questions and helping you further.
Absolutely. So here's what we've got on the agenda today. We're going to do a brief introduction. We'll talk about what are procedures, what's that feature look like in MaintainX. We'll talk about why you should be using procedures. We'll do, as usual, a live demo. And I'm actually going to split that demo into two parts because I know we have a range of experience levels on the call today, from prospective MaintainX customers to those who've been using it for a fair few years. So we will start out going over the basic procedures, features, and then we will dig some more in and go to some more advanced features and some new releases as well. And then we'll chat a little bit about how you can get up and running. And as I mentioned, we'll then have the best part, our live Q&A. So to kick us off, a little bit here about MaintainX. So our mission is to transform the way frontline professionals manage the equipment and facilities that power our world. We are building for the long term, pushing innovation in mobile workflows, real-time analytics, and open APIs. And we partner with our customers. So we have a world-class team that develops and supports our product with industry expertise in manufacturing, facilities, and more. We have a few little awards. Well, not little awards, I shouldn't say, pros we're pretty proud of on that right-hand side there. And before we continue with this presentation, as usual, I would love to highlight the range of support that you have here at MaintainX. We are always on hand, always happy to help. You have my customer success team, our support team, and Nick there, available 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. And you also have your account manager on hand to help with any questions you may have as well. So a great product and a great team to help you. Let's kick it off with a Zoom poll here. So how do you currently provide your team with step-by-step task instructions? Claudine's going to pop us up our Zoom poll and answer honestly. There are no wrong answers here. We just want to get a bit of a lay of the land. And actually, Claudine, I'm not able to see the poll on this one. Not quite sure what's happened there. So Nick, are you able to see the results?
Hey.
There we go.
Perfect.
I see them now. Bit of a technical glitch. So we asked, how do you currently provide your team with step-by-step task instructions? And the responses we had were MaintainX procedures, digital resources, pen and paper, and word of mouth. And it looks like the winner on this one is word of mouth, which is the most common response I've heard from my clients as well. 41% on word of mouth, 20% on pen and paper. So in the kind of traditional methods, we've got 60% of us using those there. And today we're going to chat about why we should hopefully move towards doing something more like MaintainX procedures or a digital resource. We'll talk about some of the benefits that would bring to you and just why it's going to make your day-to-day a little bit easier. So let's start at the very beginning. The what? What is a procedure? So a procedure is a form that contains a sequence of steps required for completion by workers. It can be very varied. Our procedures tool is so flexible that you can use it really for anything that you would like. Some of the most common things I have seen from my customers would be standard operating procedures. That could be preventive maintenance for your assets. It could be facility inspections, or it could be room unit turnover checklists. Those are some things that come up quite often. I also have customers who use it for accident report forms to note inventory requirements needed for a task, so people can check that off before we go onto the job. And also for general information storage. It's a great place to keep information and have that easily accessible to yourself and your team. So we know what it is, but why should we use it? Why is this going to be different to using word of mouth or pen of paper? What is the advantage here? So we've got 6 main points that we think are procedures here. Firstly, it'll help you drive continuous improvement. That means getting more comprehensive with our tasks, ensuring that they are completed to a higher degree every time, making sure that everything is done exactly as it should be. Our procedure scoring feature really helps on this point, and that's something that I will be demonstrating later on in the call. Our second point, task standardization. You can take this one in a couple of different ways. So, of course, a procedure gives you clear guidelines on the work to be undertaken. That means that between your team members, no matter who's working a particular shift or a particular day, you can make sure that that task is done in the same way every time. Beyond just within your team, you could do within different teams, or you could even do, if you are, a multi-plant facility, you could have that standardization across different organizations. Procedures are something that can be shared from organization to organization within MaintainX. So if you have a plant that's in Oklahoma and another one that's over in Arizona, like no problem at all. You can make sure that everyone at each plant is following those same steps. Third point here, audit compliance. We know how much everyone loves audits, and hopefully procedures will make that a little bit easier. Firstly, every field is timestamped. You can see when that was filled in and by who. We also have signature fields within there. Absolute game changer, a little bit of accountability. And there's clear evidence of every step that was taken to maintain any of your assets or any of your locations. Fourth point, increased efficiency. We love efficiency. We know in a lot of industries right now, there is a labor shortage. Everyone is overworked. We're all very, very busy in our day-to-day. So anything that can make tasks easier, cut down on time is a benefit. MaintainX's procedures can do that via reducing the amount of time taken to, ask different people, what do I have to do? How do I do this? Where do I go to go do this? Really just keeping that information in one place. Kind of like a localized user manual. Think of it that way. The second point on increased efficiency would be automation. So making sure that task recurs automatically with that same set of guidelines, or automatically pulling up corrective actions when something has gone wrong, stopping you from having to note, oh, there's an issue there. Now I need to make another work order or call someone, record it, then go do that task. MaintainX will do that for you from within a procedure field. Point 5, improved safety. So again, with those clear instructions and guidelines, including conditional fields, you can get really specific in how work is done, accounting for various eventualities there as well. That's going to lead to properly maintained spaces and machines, which of course inherently increases the safety of our facilities. I'm going to again mention those corrective actions in here, which I will be showing you in our demo. Having that as a fail-safe, again, improving safety. And my final point here, centralizing knowledge. Across industries, there's a range of different ways that we can pool our knowledge. The knowledge comes from various different places. It can be from Googling different things. You might have a physical manual, or you might have someone who's worked at your facility for 40 years and knows how to do every single thing. They know it like the back of their hand. When you have to consult those 3 places, it takes time. It's not ideal. With a procedure, we can pull those all into one space and have that knowledge be centralized and available to everyone. Definitely an advantage there, I would say. But I'm just a person speaking at you from behind my screen here. So if you don't want to take my word for it, here are some numbers to back me up. So preventing downtime. 13% of maintenance managers say human error is a leading cause of unplanned downtime. And unplanned downtime costs come in at a cost of around $260K an hour. That is a lot of money. With your procedures, we're hoping to reduce those human errors by giving clear step-by-step instructions. By reducing human errors, then we can reduce the unplanned downtimes and reduce those costs as a result. It's a threefold benefit there. It'll help us to avoid safety incidents. I found out that 80 to 90% of accidents occur due to human error. We've discussed how that can be reduced via procedures. There were 4 million workplace injuries in 2020 at a cost of $136 billion to employers. I'd quite like $136 billion. I'm sure you would too. So again, reducing that human error, improving our safety through use of procedures can only be a benefit. And of course, ensuring compliance. Penalty for each OSHA violation, $15,625. So definitely worth using a procedure or two and seeing how they can help you out. So that's great. Hopefully, we're now all on the same page. We want to use procedures, we want to get up and running, but how do we do that? That's a great question, and I'm going to show you. We're going to go through this together right now. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we'll start out with really the basics of procedures. We'll show you how to make a standard procedure, and then we'll go back, refresh, and dig in a little bit deeper. So here we go. MaintainX, a familiar screen, hopefully. I'm going to head into our procedure library on the left-hand side right here. Here's where we have our procedure library full of all the procedures available within our organization. For you, you may already have hundreds, you may have none so far. That's okay. We've all got to start somewhere. I'm going to head to New Procedure Template in the top right-hand corner. And I've got a few options here as to how to create a new procedure. We can start from scratch. We can use the global procedure library, or we can use import forms. I'll talk a little bit about import forms later, but to focus on these first two for now. The global procedure library is a great repository of knowledge that we have available at MaintainX here. So you can either click right here to pull it up, or if you go to our website, you can pull it up that way as well. In here, there are thousands of procedures already uploaded by customers, by us, by manufacturers. So there may be information or procedures in here that are useful to you and are relevant. So to save yourself some time making something, feel free to come in here and take any procedure that you like and bring that into your account. And if we want to start from scratch, we'll just click on New Procedure. So today we are going to make a daily forklift inspection. You can give it a description. That is optional, but I would recommend doing it just to give some clarity. So I'm going to write, this procedure must be completed daily, if I can type, by the assigned operator during that shift. Then we go to next, and here we are in our procedure builder. Before we get cracking with this procedure, some things to note here. You've got your navigation right here. You can add a new field, you can add a new heading, you can split your procedure up with different headings, and you can have sections as well if you would like to have collapsible parts of your work order here. You can also add another procedure within one procedure. So if you want to nest a procedure and have it available to you from within this one, you absolutely can do so. We have our first field here that's popped up, and I'll let you take a look at the kinds of fields we can include within a procedure. We've got checkboxes, text fields, number fields, amounts, multiple choice, a checklist, inspection checks, yes, no's, not applicables, picture fields, signature block, date, meter reading. Really, this encompasses a lot here. There are many, many things you can do. I would say some of the most popular ones would be checklists, signatures, and inspection check fields. Those are the ones I tend to come across most. And we're going to start ours out with a checklist here. So I'm going to do a visual and safety inspection checklist. Perfect. And I'm going to put some options in here. So we're going to check the lights. We're going to check the gauges, hydraulics. You get the gist here. We're able to put in multiple fields. All you have to do to push yourself onto the next one is press enter, and it should be really quick to create a field like this. I think that should just about do us. And there we go. We have our first field. I can now make a second field, or I could even start a new section if I would like to. For now, I'll stay in our first section, and I'm going to put in an inspection check field. Now you'll see an inspection check has three options: pass, flag, and fail. Those are very important, and we'll come back to them in a little while. I'm going to have this be an overall inspection check. And I'm going to put, if this is a flag or fail, specify the area of concern. Always good for us to get a little bit more information in here. Within each field, as we add them, you'll see we have several options down here. We could have a condition. We'll chat more about that later. We could add in a link, so that could be to a website, for example. You could put in any file. So if you have a video that might help or a picture or something, you can attach that to a field right here. Anything that's going to give some more color and some more instruction on how to complete that field for your text. And you can make it a required field as well. So I'm going to have this be required. That means that our tech cannot complete this work order unless this field has been filled in. And you can always check which one's required because you'll see a red asterisk next to the title here. I'm going to add one more field below here. In fact, maybe two. We'll do a checkbox. This box, signing. I certify. Very official here today. I've inspected each component listed. Ooh. There we go. And because it's everyone's favorite, I will put a signature field in here as well. Now, the last field type I really wanted to highlight to you within here, and I'll put it in our second section here. I'm going to call this, what are we going to call this? Pressure check. There we go. You can have a meter reading field in here as well. Now, this will link back to your meters within MaintainX. And if we're not familiar what we're talking about with meters, don't worry. Our next webinar will cover meters. But if you do use meters in MaintainX, just know, as opposed to having an individual meter reading work order, you can have that be part of the work order within here. So there we go. Tire pressure reading. And as you can see, we've got our last reading listed here, so it can be really helpful to make sure that we're on the right track. And you know what? That looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to preview this. And I think that looks great. So now I'm going to press continue. And I can assign my procedure a category. I could assign it to a specific asset, a specific location, even give it a team. As you like. I'm going to leave this one to be general. And if you did want to publish your procedure to the global procedure library, you could do that right here. Click make public, and that will publish. Click save, and there we go. We have our procedure. So we've made a procedure. You have to do that once. Now you can use it in any work order, and I'll show you how we do that. Let's head over to work orders. We're going to make a new work order, which you may have guessed, going to be daily forklift inspection. As usual, we can put in a description, a picture, anything we like. And to add a procedure, just going to click add procedure right here. There's ours. Just going to preview it. Everything's looking good. Add it in here. And for this work order, I'm going to assign it to myself. We want to do that today. I'm going to have it every day except for a Sunday. Low priority. And let's assign that to my 9th forklift there. We're going to create. And there we go. We have our work order with an attached procedure that's going to recur every day with this procedure in it. Now, I'm aware that when we're completing procedures, you're probably going to be doing that from a tablet or from a phone, most likely. So let me share my phone screen with you guys, and we're going to take a look at what that looks like. There we go. Here we are. So we're in our organization. And I'm going to head to tasks I have due today. There we have our daily forklift inspection. I'm going to pull that right on up. And I'm going to pop it in progress. I check where I'm going, what I'm working on, all the same things as usual. But because we have a procedure, I'm going to click Start Procedure. And I'm going to go through here. So yeah, I've checked the lights. I've checked the gauges. I've checked the hydraulics, the battery and cables, the engine and motor compartment, the fluid levels. We've done all of this. Then I'm going to do my overall inspection check. And in this case, I'm actually going to fail this. What I'd like you to see here is that when failing an inspection check, it will prompt you to add a picture or a file, and you can even add a note as well. So if I click on Add Procedure or File, I can go to my camera, and I can take a picture here of my forklift. Press Use Photo, And then I can even highlight the area of concern. So I'm going to click on this little pencil, and there we go. There's our problem right there. Picture's worth 1,000 words. And of course, I can put a note in as well. Hopefully yours has a little bit more information than that. I can then continue with my procedure. I certify I've inspected everything. I'm going to sign off on this. Not my real signature, I promise. And I can put my tire pressure reading in here as well. We're going 44. There we go. I have all of my fields filled in. So I'm going to mark this as done. And we've completed our work order. Now, the automation I was mentioning at the beginning, this is a prime example of this. We had an inspection check field and we failed, logged it as a fail. What that does is it triggers this. There is one failure in this work order. Would we like to create a corrective action? And I'm going to select that yes, we would. If we do that, it has automatically generated us another work order. It's included the picture, it's included my note, it's linked back to the original work order. So we have here a paperless paper trail of this error. It's automatically made it a high priority, and you can choose if you want your corrective actions to go to a specific priority level or be assigned to a specific person or have a specific category assigned. That's absolutely possible. I'm going to go in here and start my procedure. And this time I fixed the issue. So I'm going to pass it. I'm going to mark it as done. There we go. Problem solved. So hopefully that gives a little bit more clarity on what we can be expecting to see from filling in a procedure on your mobile view and creating one on the computer. Let's head back across. Again, there were a couple of features that I highlighted here. One, corrective actions. I cannot stress this enough. I come back to it time and time again with my customers as one of the most helpful features we have in MaintainX. This helps with your audit compliance through that paperless paper trail. It helps you increase your efficiency and it improves your safety as well. There is absolutely no harm in having multiple inspection fields within your work orders. Even just as a fail-safe, it's good to have them there. Make sure nothing slips through the net. And that second feature, the global procedure library, truly a wealth of knowledge lives within there. So definitely take a look at that. So we've covered the basics. Now we can go back and we can get a little bit more granular. So let's flip back across into MaintainX here. And I'm going to pull up that procedure that we made before. If ever you want to go back in and you want to edit a procedure, you absolutely can do. Just click edit right here and it'll take us right back to our builder. So there are two features that I would like to highlight as our more advanced features, and those are conditional fields and procedure scoring. So for a conditional field, let's take this one, for example. Within a conditional field, you're saying if the answer is one of these things or none of these things, or if it falls between this range, you would like this specific thing to happen. You're allowing yourself to branch out from one field depending on the outcome of that first task. So here, I'm going to put, if that answer is unchecked. So if we haven't checked this box and signed, I would like a text field in here to say, please provide reasoning, just so we know why wasn't that inspected. You can take conditional fields in many different ways. You can get really creative with it. You could have multiple conditions. You can have a condition that results from the next condition. I would definitely recommend, if you have more complex workflows, either contact support, contact myself or the rest of my team here in customer success, and we can talk through different options you have there with you to fit your workflows. Also, I'd recommend just coming in here and having a play around, see what you can make. So we have our conditional fields there. And then one of my favorite features, procedure scoring. So this is really what's going to help you drive that continuous improvement. You can attribute different scores to different fields within a procedure. So say here, for example, it's automatically put, we get 1 point for filling in all of these things, but maybe something's more important than something else. I'm going to say the engine motor compartment is slightly more important than the rest of my fields, so I'm going to attribute that too. And I'm really concerned about our overall inspection check here. So I'm going to have a pass be 4 points, a flag be 2, and a fail be 0. It'll automatically update our max score there, and this is really going to help us see the progress of this procedure and its completion over time. And save that template right there. And what we can do now is check that out. So I'm going to create a new work order, daily forklift. We've seen this before, so I'll keep it really simple. We're going to add this one in. In fact, I'll call this advanced. There we go. Assign it to myself. Due today. Daily. There we go. So we have our work order, just like before. The differences that I would like to highlight to you in here is that you can see that score right there. So if you're a manager and you're watching the progress of your team, you can really see how far we are through a given task. That can be really helpful. When something is just in progress, we don't know if one step's been taken or if 10 out of 12 have. With this procedure score, you can very easily see that right now, 25% of this has been done, for example. For our conditional field, we have here, by checking this box and signing, we have our reasoning popped up here because we left it unchecked. If I check this, the reasoning, we don't need to leave a reasoning for not completing it. As soon as I check that, it's going to disappear. It's all contingent on the actions that you take. So definitely come in here and have a look around. If you've already got procedures in here, have a look what you can do with conditional fields. Have a look what you can do with procedure scoring. And if you want to take a look at your procedure scoring over time, head into the list view of your work orders and take a look in the procedure score column. We can see then if there's any trends over time. Hopefully, the scores of our procedures will be increasing as they become more reliable, as our techs are completing all of the fields within a procedure. But if we're having a little dip, no problem. You now know what to look into. Let's hop back across here. And that covers us for those conditional fields, again, helping to standardize tasks and increase efficiency. And for our procedure scoring as well, helping drive that continuous improvement. So I hope we've now demonstrated all those 6 points at the beginning that we raised, how procedures can help you with that. So we know what they are, we know why we should use them, we know how to use them, but how do we get to that point? How do we get started in the first place? It's a great question. So like I say, you can begin building procedures from scratch, just like we did together today. That's an option. You can take any procedures from the Global Procedure Library. You can use your implementation program. If you're a prospective customer or if you're currently onboarding customer of MaintainX, I'm sure you're hearing a lot about our implementation team. They are a world-class team of ex-engineers who help you get up and running with the system. Typically, they'll help you digitize up to 40 procedures, and they'll help you choose which ones are your most critical to do within that time frame. So definitely utilize them. They are fabulous. And our equally fabulous support team, looking at you, Nick, they can help you with some procedures digitization as well. So feel free to reach out anytime through the Contact MaintainX button within your program. Now, before we head to our Q&A, just wanted to highlight we are again having our office hours session. It will be this coming Tuesday, that's July the 25th at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, 12 Central. And in that, our team of experts, including Nick and I, if we are allowed to call ourselves experts, not sure if we can do that, but our team of experts will be ready to answer your questions on best practices and tips for using MaintainX, accessing new features and product enhancements, and getting the most out of your MaintainX platform. So definitely don't miss that. We'll be able to share our screen with you. You can hop on and ask questions live. You can submit them beforehand. Check your emails. You'll have an invite for that as well. And there we go. We've reached our question section. So Nick, I'm going to ask you to hopefully hop off mute and test me. Hit me with some questions. What we got going on?
Oh, beautiful. Well, first of all, like fantastic presentation, loving it. It's so much. We had variants of questions coming through the chat. So I'd like to ask the first one. So one was asked, can we use procedures to group selected tasks for each workers assigned instead of a long list of steps to be completed?
Yeah, absolutely. So you could use conditional fields or sections on that as well. So you could list which employee that section is for, and then they can easily, click and scroll right down to that immediately. Not scroll, click and have it jump down to that immediately without having to scroll, or with a conditional field, having it pop up contingent on their response to that first question.
Amazing, amazing. Next question. Can we add folders to group procedures?
That's a good question in terms of organization, I'm imagining. So you can't create folders per se, but I would definitely recommend using clear naming conventions. For example, you could have the place name, so say warehouse and then a dash and then daytime opening steps, or warehouse dash nighttime closing steps, or warehouse dash daily inspection checklist. That will really help the grouping and put similar tasks together, so you can easily find that procedure when you need it, and you can search by that as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. I do that. I do that to my own org as well. So if another question is, if I add a procedure to many work orders
Mhm.
and I make a change to the template in one work order, does it update procedures in other linked work orders?
Great question. No, it won't. So there'll be two options presented when your procedure edit is, when you've started editing your procedure. So you can either edit locally or edit the library template. If you edit the library template, it will update your main one, and you can bring the procedure up to date in all of your work orders. If you're editing locally, it's just going to be on that work order that you're currently on. So
Oh,
both can
wow.
be helpful in different situations.
Oh, perfect. A next question was asked, is there a way to set reminders to procedures?
So that's a great question. And by, attaching a procedure to a work order, that's kind of your reminder to get that procedure done. So you would attach the procedure to the work order and set the due date of your work order, which will then remind you that procedure needs to be done at that time. So say within my example in this call, I had my daily checklist, right? So I attached that daily procedure to a work order that pops up every day at a certain time, and that'll ping me to get it done.
Fantastic. Another question was asked, can requesters access procedures from their login?
So requesters wouldn't be able to complete procedures. Requesters, if they are requester users and they have access to, the very pared back version of MaintainX, they would be able to see the procedure that's being completed by the full user or admin working on the task, but they would not be able to go in and complete it themselves or search for procedures in the library.
Wow, fantastic. Next question. Can you print out procedures for employees who are not on your assigned to-do list?
You could, absolutely, if you would like to. You can always export your procedures, or you could attach them to a work order and print that work order. However, I would very much recommend having those users in the system. If anyone's going to be completing tasks, even if it is just one daily checklist, contact your account manager and chat to them about what your options are there. Really having your whole team in MaintainX is what makes it fluid and makes things the most efficient they can be. So have a chat with your account manager, see what options we have for you. But if not, if we'd absolutely like to keep them on paper, there are ways that you can print, absolutely.
Beautiful. We do have a few more questions, but I think in terms of time-wise, how are we doing?
I think we're good on time. I think we have about 10 more minutes here. So let's keep on with the
Beautiful.
questions. Keep them coming. I'm
Absolutely.
having fun.
So another one was asked, I have 50 fire extinguishers. Should I create 50 checkboxes in my procedures, or what would be the best way to track these fire extinguishers in my work orders?
That's a really good question. And really, it depends on how you're wanting to track things. So you could create one procedure that is a bunch of checks on a fire extinguisher, and then have a work order for each extinguisher that you go through and do at a given cadence. That would mean that for each fire extinguisher you have listed as an asset in MaintainX, it would populate the history there. So if you want to get really granular, that would be my recommended way. But if you want to avoid having 50 things that pop up and you're not super concerned about the asset history building up, I'd recommend having one procedure where, either you have the different sections for each fire extinguisher to be checked, or just a checkbox for each one. Either of those options would work. It really depends what you're wanting to come back at the end. Are you wanting to have that information populate back to your asset history, in which case have a procedure that's standard and a work order for each asset? Or if it's just we want one work order with everything in there, it's just a reminder for our techs to go through and check all 50 fire extinguishers, create one master procedure.
Lovely. The next one, which I receive all the time, is how do I export or even print a procedure if I'd like to do that?
Nick, why don't you take that one? I'll give you the spotlight for a second.
So printing a procedure, you can add a procedure to a simple work order, and then you can you can basically export or print the work order, which will allow you to print that procedure in a PDF format.
Absolutely. And I would refresh back as well to the question we answered just a couple of questions ago, in the sense that the advantage of having a system like MaintainX is that everything is at your fingertips at all times. You can log into MaintainX from anywhere, on a desktop, on your phone, on a tablet, wherever. So the advantage of having a procedure in MaintainX is that you can access that from anywhere, and it should hopefully eliminate the need for us to print any procedures. So hopefully we can keep it in there. And I know a common concern I get a lot of the time is, but Mary, we work in, less than ideal conditions. Maybe we work in a mine, or we work somewhere that's really wet, somewhere that's really, there's just a lot going on that tech doesn't really go with. Well, there's different workarounds that we have for that. We have customers working in all kinds of conditions who are able to use things like tablets. So again, feel free to reach out to support myself, your account manager, and we can talk you through your options as well.
Amazing.
I'm on a mission against paper here today.
Out of the paper and in with MaintainX.
Exactly. Have we got another question for me?
So I have having about 150 employees on a user as users just to complete a daily checklist seems a bit much. Is there a lower level of user that can be used?
So there are different levels of users that you can have within MaintainX. Again, this is a question that depends really on your situation and usage of MaintainX. So I cannot recommend enough. Reach out to your account manager and they will talk through your options with you. Now, if you're not 100% sure who your account manager is, no problem. Hit that contact MaintainX button in your system, and our support team can redirect you to your account manager and provide you with their contact details. So definitely reach out to them and they'll talk to you about your specific needs and use case.
How do requesters view the status of their requests, and can they see work orders that they did not create?
Yeah, great question. So requesters, if they are requester users who are in the system, they can see the status of work orders that they requested. They can't see the status of work orders of requests that were put in by other requesters, only their own ones. So they'll be able to see, what status it is, what's happened to it so far. They'll be able to see which bit of the procedure we're up to as well, and they can comment back and forth with the person assigned to that work order. If you're using the request portal, they won't have that level of access. But for requester users, yes, they can see that. They'll be able to see the procedures as well.
One more. If I have an asset with a sub-asset, does a work order for the asset show that the action has been performed on the sub-asset?
So it's always going to relate back to what you assigned that work order to. So if you assigned that work order to the sub-asset, it will show under the sub-asset. If you assigned it back to the asset, it will sign under the asset itself.
I think at this point in time we have that seems like most of the questions we've answered.
Brilliant. And
Yeah.
I'm sure we had some of our wonderful support members on here as well, typing away answers to your questions within that chat box. So thank you all for being here today, and thank you for asking those questions. Those were wonderful. Now, I know how it goes on these things. Whoops. A lot of the time you're on a call, everything's great, seems clear. You go away, you start using a feature, and then questions come up as you start using it. So again, office hours on Tuesday, July 25th. Feel free to join us there with any questions you may have. Feel free to contact our support team, contact me, contact your account manager. We're all on hand to help. I hope this session was a nice little pause in your day to do some learning. Congratulations to you for prioritizing your learning today. And we'll see you at office hours, or if not, we'll see you next month for our Meters 101 session.
Thank you again so very, very much from all of us here at MaintainX and of course the support team. We look forward to seeing you at our office hours session on July 25th. Have a fantastic day, and thanks again so much.
Have a great day, everyone.